Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming back from break on time. I appreciate it. What I'd like to do is start this portion of our conversation out with a review of the Clients for Life process. Again, if you will turn to your books on page 161, you'll look at the Clients for Life process. We've talked about the senior management commitment to the process and their involvement and responsibilities to it. We've also talked about third-party interventions through the Fresh Eyes reviews and postmortem audits. What I'd like to do is talk with you about this centerpiece, what we refer to as employee education. And you'll notice there's three components there: understanding and managing your clients' expectations, nurturing professional relationships, and proactively delivering your technical expertise. Let me just talk briefly about each of those components with you. First, expectations, and why it's so critically important we understand and manage the client's expectations. Now, in the kind of businesses that you're involved in, large service management business that's done under contract for multiple years, in your business there's a very large and very long selling cycle associated with it. You sales guys know that it could last sometimes over a year and involve any number of people on both sides of the organization. The startup is a critical phase in the relationship between the two organizations. And it's so critical that we've developed a process specifically for startup, and we call it the transition meeting. Now, who's involved in the transition meeting and why is it held? Well, as you know, sometimes these processes take years to come to a conclusion. And the people that made the decision to buy aren't necessarily going to be the people that are going to use the services that were purchased. And so it's important that we get those two groups in the room. Conversely, the people that sold the business from your organization's standpoint aren't necessarily going to be the people that operate it, are they? So it's important that we get the people that sold it in the room with the people that are operating it. So imagine, if you will, perhaps for the very first time, the people who bought the service and the people who will use the service are in the room with the people that sold the service and who will deliver the service. And the reason we bring them together is to have a conversation about what they expect to happen. Now, from your standpoint, it's critically important that you understand what your clients expect, but it's also important for your clients to understand what you expect of them. Aren't your proposals based on information that your clients have given you? Haven't they promised you to give you certain pieces of information in certain time frames? Haven't they promised to do certain things and perhaps even to make certain capital investments in anticipation of the start of the agreement? And your proposal's based on that. And so just as it's critical for you to understand what they expect of you, it's also critical that they understand what you expect of them. Now, this transition meeting process is rather simple to do, but it does require some time, effort, and education. And that's certainly the kind of education that Tenacity can provide to your organization.